Hello everybody, I am Hoarder Gamer, and this is Hoarder's Comic Flex. I hope you're doing well. I hope you are looking forward to some games, some toying around, and also comic books. Because if comic books were not a part of his show, it would be possibly illegal. It'd be like false advertising. It would just be Hoarder's Flex. Or just Hoarders. First up, okay, we are going to talk about the insane video gaming news that has been happening since last Friday, the Summer Game Fest. I made lists. I'm ready. I'm completely ready. So, Jeff Keighley, basically he produces the Summer Game Fest, and then it's like a multiple amount of days, but there's like a 2-hour show, and that happened on Friday. And I made a listing of like all those games that I thought were super exciting and things that were kind of rumored. It turned out to be true, that were cool to hear about. So here we go. First up, Lego Horizon Adventures. So Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon, I believe it's Forbidden West. Both those games are great and very, very dark, very depressing. They're not happy-go-lucky, but in Lego they are, and it is charming. Wait till you see Lego Aloy. And just hopping around and smiling. The animation style is like stop motion, very similar to the Lego movie. So it looks awesome. And there's one part where you can create your own, I don't know if it's your own village or what, but you could have a Ferris wheel and amusement park rides. It's just really absurd. Doesn't take things too seriously. And some information came out about it today or yesterday. It's going to be about an 8-hour game. Now, I am hoping that that's what they call the golden path, meaning the path that will lead you to golden treasure. One-eyed Willie's rich stuff. No, the golden path is just the main campaign usually. The main story arc, the main thing to do. Now, just about every Lego game I've played has been, I'd say, 15, 20, 30 hours, maybe more, of things to do and, fun, enjoyable stuff. And even the early Lego games, they might have been 7 or 8 hours to do the campaign, but then you would go through with the other characters you've unlocked, re-go through the levels, right, and get these cool collectibles, find these neat secrets, sometimes entirely different pathways. So I'm hoping it has that. I'm really hoping it's not just everything in the game is a total of 7 to 8 hours. I'm hoping that's not the case. But I have no problem if that's the campaign, because that would make sense. I don't know. Apparently it only tells I think it's a truncated, altered version of the first game. I don't think it even touches on the sequel. So, from what I've heard. So, we'll see. Okay, now, everybody that likes a game as a service. And how could you not if you've played Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? Probably the best example of, a perfect game as a service. One kissed on the forehead by God. No, not really. But I even have something to bring up about Suicide Squad when we're done with this. Anyway, July 2nd is the first Descendant. And some people have played betas, alphas, tried stuff out. I think there was a PC-only weekend where you could play on PC. It wasn't for just only politically correct people playing the game. It was for playing the game on PC. I think it was a Steam-based thing, maybe. Or maybe Water Vapor. I don't know. Okay. But yeah, that comes out July 2nd. I'm looking forward to it. It's this really wild mix of Warframe and Destiny, but then you put in kaiju, like these gigantic robot bosses, and they're like raid bosses, and you team up, and that's partially the end game. It's apparently going to launch with 16 of these giant things. Now, I don't know if that means more like 4, 8, 6, 4, 8, 12, and then like variants that are more difficult. I honestly don't know. But possibly up to 16 different gigantic biomechanical beasts that have to be destroyed. So, yeah. What I played, I really liked in the beta. Apparently, they took a lot of things to heart. They worked on the story. They added more things to do in game. So not long from now, July 2nd, we'll be able to check that out. Star Wars Outlaws. So they had a trailer last Friday. But beyond the trailer last Friday, it was also at the event on Monday for Ubisoft. And it looks great. I have no qualms with this game. I am hoping that it does feel like you're doing like bespoke and handcrafted missions, like for side missions and stuff. I mean, we'll see. I don't know if that's how it's going to work, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We found out that Nyx will not bite the bullet at the end of the game. They feel that that kind of thing is like almost emotional blackmail. They didn't want to do it, so there was a whole like big thing where like Nyx, is considered safe. Nyx is a little adorable creature that joins Kay and helps her out in very interesting ways, like bringing her health, bringing her weapons, knocking out enemies, distracting enemies. Very cool. Very cool. Looking forward to playing that game. And yeah, we got to see that Lando Calrissian, a young Lando Calrissian, is in the game. And yeah, that was pretty neat. Also, Valorant on console. Now, I'm really waiting till Valor Wasp, the sequel. But I know a lot of people like Valorant. So, if you're into Valorant, then it is coming to console. PlayStation and Xbox. So, keep in mind that. I wonder how that's going to do, actually. Because, like, with Star Wars coming out, and Valorant being this kind of mix between, like, a hero shooter and that one real popular shooter where you're just running around shooting and one shot and you're dead. I forget what the hell the name of it is. It's a PC game that people loved. It's a lot like that. It's a mix of those two games. You collect knives. Yeah, you basically collect all these knives and stuff, and some people sell them for like $1,000 or... I want to call it Call of Duty. It's not Call of Duty, but it's a name that, in my head, just sounds real similar to that. But we're going to jump to something else now. This was really exciting, everybody. Blumhouse. Blumhouse entered the realm of video games, horror video games. And I thought they were going to like announce one game and it would look really cool and it'd be like the beginning of Blumhouse games, right? They had an entire freaking slate of horror games, including like a cozy horror game where you're like tending your crops and everything. But on occasion, murders happen. Then they had like body horror, psychological horror, survival horror, all these different types of games that they have coming out. And they listed, I want to say it's like 4 or 5 studios that'll be making these games. So it was a much larger thing than I ever expected they would do. I was really surprised by it. Next up, Alan Wake 2 Night Springs DLC. So, I have not played Alan Wake. I and Xbox Live Mike, we've been trying to wait for the physical copy of the game, but now we find out the physical copy of the game apparently has all the DLC and it's like $80. So, I might just get the digital copy now because I didn't know they would go that route. I didn't know that. So, waiting all this time for really nothing. It's kind of amusing to me. But no, everyone who's played this DLC said it's amazing. And it even brings in the lead character from Control. So it starts bridging these worlds that Remedy has created. So it looks very neat. It looks like a very meaningful story DLC. Also, Power Rangers. Go, go, Power Rangers. They have a new game coming out. Rita's Rewind. And it looks like this insane mashup, a beat 'em up, and then like mini games. So think of something like Battletoads, the newest version that Xbox had, like about I think 2 years ago or so. Think something like that, because that's what it reminded me of. It looks very good. I was a little nervous because it sounded like it was only on Steam, but more recently they announced it's also coming to consoles as well. So it sounds like they're gonna wait until maybe there's like a PlayStation Direct or something to show it's out on PlayStation, and then Xbox will do their thing and be like, hey, it's coming to us too, you know, type of thing. And that's what it sounds like anyway. So yeah, but that was like, to me, everything that was exciting at Summer Game Fest. Now there was other like indie games and things like that that were really cool, but these are the things that like jumped out at me. And also doing this show, I'm trying not to do something that's like 2 hours, so I have to kind of pare things down. Okay. So then we had the big Xbox event, and I kid you not, it is one of the best presentations I've seen a video game company do. And I've been seeing a lot of different video game company presentations. So, basically they had Avowed, they had Dragon Age the Veilguard, and I will say this, a lot of people were not thrilled at all with that trailer that they showed. I had no problem with it. I thought it was funny. I thought it had the sense of humor that the game has, but it was heightened. Also, you know, almost more like in a sense of comedy, like Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, a lot of things are trying to follow that type of comedic level. And the idea, you have to understand, with a trailer like that at a big trade convention or a trade event like the Xbox event, they're trying to get the most eyes on it, right? They're trying to get people excited that may not know anything about a Warden, about Hawk, about Varric, or the Dread Wolf. They're trying to get people excited. So that's what the trailer did, and I think it really worked well for people that didn't know anything about Dragon Age. But some people got very upset over it. The best thing is, when these people went on social media, a lot of them basically revealed they knew nothing of Dragon Age with their complaints when those came out, because that's usually how things are. Then we had Doom the Dark Ages. So I'll try to be quick about this. Doom the Dark Ages is going to be super exciting for a lot of people, possibly a game of the year for them next year. When I played Doom Eternal, I could not have had a worse litany of issues except for the game like blowing up my console, literally, like having the console explode. I had to reload at least 5 or 6 areas, sometimes multiple times. I had difficulty pathing and like the and difficulty with the what do you call that, traversal. I did not love all the platforming. It seemed to be a bit much at times. But then also I would fight bosses that would be invincible. I would think that there was a way to defeat them, but they were invincible because the game glitched. And I would spend a half hour to 45 minutes attacking these bosses. Like, I have had possibly the worst experience with Doom Eternal. So, part of me wants to try it again, probably off stream. Probably just, like, on easy. But, like, oh my god, the shit I had to go through with my playthrough of Doom Eternal. I gave up about 70% through. Yeah, it was just too much. Too much ridiculousness. Again, my playthrough being just about different than everyone else that played it. So, I understand. Okay, so then we got Perfect Dark. That was insane. Like, there were people betting that the game would not be there. Some people were saying it would be. No one really knew, and now we've seen it. And I think it looks really good. I think it's very much more in the vein of this story-based game that came out on Xbox 360 like over 10 years ago. That's what they went for. Okay? That was like what they decided to go with. And I think it looks really good. Like, you have a number of different gadgets. It has a very James Bond type feel to it. But of course, people were upset with the actress or character model for the character, because apparently a lot of, incels have never seen what a woman looks like in real life. That seems possible, I guess, But yeah, I think it looks good. I definitely want to see some actual gameplay. So this is very heavy on like CG trailers and stuff. Certain things had gameplay, and that'll get into very quickly. Fable 2025, and just about every show I talk about Fable, it's going to be coming out in 2025, not like that's the name of it. Every time I talk about it, I do like to say, I want to put this out there, that I think that we're playing the main character of the Scarlet Robe, and I think it's either a prequel or there's something crazy and, as Doctor Who would say, timey-wimey going on. So I'm kind of thinking that's might be why we constantly see the lady playable character, because it's Scarlet Robe. I don't think this one was meant for us to create our own character. I think we're telling a story that connects everything, because keep in mind, Scarlet Robe is the mother of the hero of Oakvale, as well as Teresa's mother. So that's the feeling I have here. Plus, if we tell that story, we have Jack, not Jack of Hearts, Jack of Swords. Well, we get Jack. We get Jack. That's what happens. Hey, Excellent, how you doing? Do you remember the villain's name in Fable? Jack something. Jack of something. I just can't remember the name. Oh well. But no, that's like the big game I bought a Series X for. Like when they announced Fable, that was, I believe, in like 2020, and I needed to get a replacement Blu-ray player for my living room. So it was between that and like a 4K Blu-ray player, and I ended up getting a Series X. But one of the main reasons, not the absolute main reason, one of the main reasons was to play Fable. Because I knew very well I would want to play the new Fable. Can we be a snack of blades? It's not snack of blades. Oh, Jack. Oh my God. Jack of Blades. There we go. The Jack of Blades. Okay. Now this one was one of the best presentation parts of the Xbox event. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which is coming out this fall or holiday, people. It's coming out this year, 2024. Not only was it awesome in that, like, there was cinema stuff going on, right? There was a ton of action, like actual gameplay in the game, and it looks fantastic. And it carries the sense of humor and the action buildup that the Indiana Jones movies have. And I'm very impressed. I think that could very well be a Game of the Year nominee. I wonder if it's actually going to come to PlayStation, because I think it could get people interested in buying a Series X. Like, Indiana Jones is huge. And if this game is like a 9 across the board or something crazy like that, it's going to get people really excited, especially in the fall or in the holiday season, Okay, Gears of War E-Day. I will use the term that Microsoft seems to be afraid to use, prequel. It is a prequel to Gears of War, and it looks fantastic. Now, they might have wanted to avoid that term because maybe people think, oh, it's going to be like super retro and everything like that. No, it's supposed to have like cutting edge technology behind it, and it's supposed to kind of like almost basically blow our minds. So what we saw was in-engine. and it was gorgeous. And yeah, you definitely need to see that trailer for Gears of War E-Day. Now, I believe E-Day comes out, I think it's next year. I don't believe it's this year. South of Midnight. Wow. So, South of Midnight was shown last year at the Xbox event. But I honestly thought it was going to be a lot more indie. Because what we saw was a really cool, kind of a slightly creepy trailer that took place, like, in like a bayou at midnight, and there was kind of this magical air of things going on and stuff. It was really neat. I believe there was also a song, like something out of a musical, if I recall. But that was cool, right? But what we saw on Sunday was like this, like big budget action with great story and concepts. A giant, like, was it crocodile or alligator island that's moving and will attack. Like, really cool stuff. Like, I was not expecting it to be that type of game. I kind of expected it to be like an indie side-scrolling, you know, still really great looking, but I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting this awesome-looking action game with a completely different vibe. Like, yes, and the actual animation, like for cinemas and stuff, looks like something like Coraline, as Xbox Live Mike said, or like what do you call that? The Rankin Bass Christmas specials. It looked really awesome, and it works really well. So yeah, South of Midnight I think is going to be really great, and it seems like a great decision that Xbox made to be releasing that game. I believe it's actually one of their studios, isn't it now? Did they own Compulsion? I'm not sure. Oh, well. Okay. Now this was very interesting as well. Call of Duty Black Ops 6. My favorite part, and I've talked about this, my favorite part of the Call of Duty games are the campaigns. And a reason to replay them. And yes, you can technically replay a campaign in Call of Duty, and some of them you can make like a decision here or there that's a little bit different. They actually went with heavily replayable. And the studio involved for the campaign seems to be Raven in Madison, Wisconsin. And I live in Wisconsin, so like that's awesome. That is awesome that they're the studio that is doing that game. And a replayable campaign is one thing. That's pretty cool. But then they went all out, and the entire game, multiplayer and the campaign, is going to introduce omni-movement, an intelligent movement. So imagine being like an action hero soldier, doing things a soldier could do, like, you know, like jump back, fall onto your back and shoot enemies. You know, something like Max Payne. Think of things like that. John Wick. Those are actually these cool things you can do, and the amount of animation now that's in the game all the way through. So you are going to see absolutely insane things from like the upper echelon of the multiplayer Call of Duty crowd. You're going to see just insanity. Just complete insanity. Okay. And Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred. I was going to say last but not least, but there's like one or two other things. Diablo 4, Vessel of Hatred comes out October 8th, and all players got a big surprise. They did an update on Sunday afternoon to give everyone a pet. There's a little pooch waiting for us in Kyovashad. There's a mission to get the pooch. All that is, approach it and pet it. And you have a little pet now. You have your own pooch. And that pet, if you haven't played Diablo 3, is meaningful. It's not just a cosmetic. It will go and pick up your gold. It'll pick up crafting materials for you. If you played Diablo 4, gold, crafting materials, all that could be like all over. And part of the game, you have to backtrack and go and get all that stuff. Now your pet does it. And it's well animated. And the timing was really good, because not only did they have the Vessel of Hatred trailer and the big drop of the Spiritborn being the new character class, but it's also in time for the first anniversary of Diablo 4. So it basically became like a nice little anniversary present to everyone that plays Diablo. You get the dog right at the beginning of the game, even before you get your horse. I believe so. Wait, you've done that, or are you asking? It's possible, because Kyovashad is like the main town. Once you get to Kyovashad, you'd have to be in Kyovashad. Because when you start the game, you're not quite there. You're in a small little town. And you can't even activate the waypoint there, because it's frozen over. You have to return there later. Okay. But yeah, it was once you got to Kyovashad, right? I don't know how they would have had that for you in the very beginning of the game. Yeah, but they're going to introduce other types of pets. If you pre-order the game, or the expansion anyway, it starts at $40 US, and it goes up to, I want to say, 80 or 90. And if you're going to those more expensive versions, you're getting, I believe you're getting a season pass for like the battle pass. You're getting some really cool DLC and stuff like that. I think the $60 version's the way to go, because you get a new mount, which is really neat. It's not a horse. It's like a giant, like, freaking battle cat type of thing. Looks really cool. And the expansion takes place in Nahantu, very similar to where the basically the seat of the Zakarum faith was in Diablo 2. So it's like you're seeing that area and more. So it's an entirely new region of Sanctuary that we're going to get to see and play through on October 8th. Also, what they are explaining is it sounds like raids are coming to Diablo 4. So that's very exciting. The game definitely needed some cool endgame stuff, and raids are a very good idea. Especially an exciting idea if there's one of these with each of the expansions. Because they want to put out an expansion every year. The only time that they didn't have one within 1 year would be the launch of the launch of Diablo 4. But Diablo 4 came out June 1st of 2023. So having this come out October 8th, not too shabby. Not too shabby. It's only about 3 months difference between a year. So I would expect then at some point in 2025 that we'll get another expansion, because that is the plan. They really want to put one out every year. So that's exciting. Okay. Now, I went and I took my top, like, 5 games, too, okay? So for the Xbox event, that's what I did it for, the Xbox event. Indiana Jones, that is a game I'm very much looking forward to playing. It looks like it's a love letter to the character. It looks like the devs very much understood what makes the Indiana Jones character and that world interesting, aside from punching, kicking, and stabbing Nazis. Like, that's a big part of it, but there's more to it too. It's the character, the sense of humor, all of that, like the companion characters that work with Indy, all of that stuff is in there. It looks really good. Dragon Age. And actually on Tuesday, we got to see like 20 minutes of gameplay from Dragon Age Veilguard. It looks gorgeous. It looks kind of ridiculous. And they showed a Pride Demon, which are in Dragon Age Inquisition. And now they have this crazy looking like neon blue, partial see-through like skeleton stuff going on. The stuff looks crazy. Like, they really are showing off visually. Varric is a big part of the game. He's one of your playable characters. There's a detective, and they also showed that there's an amazing town called Minrathous, which is like a very high-scale, expensive town that seems to have like electricity and everything. It might be magic electricity. I honestly don't know. But you're there to stop Solus. Solus is trying to do this incantation or this spell that he thinks will save all of Thedas, even though there will be casualties. and Varric is trying to talk his friend down from doing this. So it's a really cool 20 minutes if you're a fan of Dragon Age. Now, here's something I'll say real quick, though. One of the weirdest things in marketing for games recently has been saying it's a standalone game and you don't have to play any of the others. To me, that's kind of marketing BS. Beloved character Varric in Dragon Age is in Dragon Age 2, Dragon Age Inquisition, which is technically like Dragon Age 3, and then also in Dragon Age Veilguard. That's an important character. Solus is also in Inquisition. And you get to understand that character, their motivations and everything, and their background, which will lead to the decisions they make. So I don't know what is with this new marketing thing. Just honestly, don't use it. Don't you want people to maybe try your other games? I feel what you're doing is you're shutting the door and they're like, oh, it's a standalone. I don't find that, to be honest. I have to double check, but I could have sworn they might have said something about that, like with Fable as well. There's another game coming out that is a sequel or like follow-up, you know, to an existing franchise, and they said the same thing: standalone, you don't have to play any of the other games. And yeah, it might have been Fable. But yeah, I do not recommend that. I don't get that. My top 5, we're continuing. So we had Indiana Jones, Dragon Age, now Fable again. I just started playing the Fable series. I played through this first one again. That ending is frustrating as hell. That final battle, man, frustrating as hell. Unless you understand the surprise trick or whatever you want to call it. Fable 2, I felt better about that game in every way than the first Fable. Like, it's a complete upgrade in just about every way. I absolutely loved Fable 2, so much that I would say Fable 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, which I was not expecting. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to Fable. Again, South of Midnight with the awesome animation style, the level of depth, and like the really great character designs. So not only is there the giant island / crocodile, there's this like kind of surly catfish that you're like riding around on that has an opinion about everything. Yeah, it's really, I think it's gonna be really great. I really think South of Midnight's gonna be awesome. I believe that one's also 2025. I don't believe that one's this year. And then of course Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred. Diablo 4 being one of my favorite games. And oh my god, that trailer is dark and frightening and even gory. And it'll be very interesting to see what happens with the character of Neyrelle. So yeah, that's kind of a personal thing. I'm just extremely excited about that, because it's one of the only games as a service I play that constantly has excellent content coming to it. And meaningful. Not just like you're checking boxes on a list. Things I want to do. Things I want to explore. Things I want to play. So. And then honorable mention, 6-1 Mixtape. Mixtape has this really cool coming-of-age story. It's framed in 1980s and 1990s music, so be very careful, streamers. This game could also be known as DMCA City, or, if you like this, Run DMCA. But yeah, it looks like this really cool coming-of-age story with incredibly unique animation style, and I think it's going to be really cool. I think it's going to appeal a lot to the people that like the coming-of-age, choose-your-own-adventure type of games. I think you're going to love this, because I think it's going to really be awesome. Mixtape. Great name, too, Mixtape. It's kind of perfect. Okay, everybody. We are done with the video game news, and there was a hell of a lot because there were a lot of big announcements in the last week. So next up, we are going to toy around, and we are going to begin with Cobra Commander. Cobra. And we're going to begin with him because pre-orders are live. 6-inch vac metal helmet or visor. Cobra Commander pre-orders are live, $24.99. Comes with a lot of accessories. I think it looks great. And the packaging is retro. So it actually looks like the 1980s G.I. Joe action figures, except, you know, the packaging, of course, is sized up because those are 3 3/4 inches and this is a 6-inch scale figure. So, yeah, Cobra Commander is available and I think it looks awesome. Truth be told, I actually did pre-order Cobra Commander. Okay, so next up we have, and oddly enough, not a lot of toys this week. Not a lot of toys. But we have some that are ridiculously expensive. Okay, everybody. Hot Toys Wolverine. With a facial sculpt that is damn near unbelievable. As the X-Men would say, uncanny. An uncanny facial sculpt. And an uncanny price as well. $340. $340. So, like, he actually has arms sculpted like Hugh Jackman's. Like, the amount of detail is absolutely ridiculous in this thing. And there's two versions. There's one that's $280, but you do not get the Logan head. You only get the masked head. So, I think a lot of people will go the 340 route, man. Because that is such a ridiculously good-looking sculpt. And it's got eyes that are able to rotate separately. Glass eyes. Yeah, Hot Toys goes all out. They kind of insane, really. So we got this picture here. It shows the masked head, and you have 3 different mouths that actually snap in. And even that looks ridiculous. Like, it almost looks like you've shrunken down Hugh Jackman to 12 inches tall. Yeah, it's insane to me, the amount of detail these have. And the outfit, everything. It's just, Hot Toys goes that next level. You know, you're going to pay that next level price, but, man, you can't talk that they don't have quality, you know? You can't. And here's Wolverine with his mask. Some pretty cool poses there. Also, I believe that the $280 one does not have the sculpted arms. I believe he only has arms that have the outfit part on. I think to get the sculpted arms as well, you have to go with the deluxe version at $340. But man, imagine what the Deadpool's going to look like. Probably about that same price too, so keep that in mind. But yeah, I would not be surprised in the next week or two if we saw the Deadpool Hot Toys for the new movie, Deadpool and Wolverine. That might be the end of our toys. We might be done toying around already. Yeah, everybody, we are. Yeah, the only other thing is, I believe it's on the 17th next week. There's going to be a Hasbro Pulse live stream for the Marvel Legends series. And just about everyone is saying that that's going to be Deadpool and Wolverine, you know, like 6-inch figures and stuff from the movie. So that's not a guarantee it will be that, but the timing and everything really lines up, and it seems very feasible that's what it is. So it's definitely going to be a big thing because they wouldn't do a whole stream. Those streams are like 45 minutes to an hour. They're not like 10 minutes. There's a lot going on in those streams. Sony Pictures buys... Yes, and I was not happy about that. Yeah, so... Yeah, basically Alamo Drafthouse is like this awesome escape for huge movie fans where you don't have to worry about people talking on their phone or texting. You can just watch the movie, maybe enjoy a beer at the same time. But now Sony bought them. So they actually had their own security team, which they called the Alamo Drafthouse Ninjas, that were actually in the dark with, like, I don't know if I guess they had to have, like, night vision goggles to stop, like, behavior that would upset anyone watching the movie. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. But now, that's not probably going to be what the Alamo Drafthouse has anymore, or what they're known for, so sad. There was a whole big thing where the film industry was separated from owning theaters. And if you think about it, that makes complete sense. I have no idea how this is passing. I mean, I'd call it a monopoly, but I don't think you can, because right now, no other movie studios own theaters. So it's more of an anomaly, I guess? I don't know. Oh, it's called the Paramount Decree? Is that the actual name? But yeah, I don't like the idea of massive corporations buying everything. You know? And I'm guessing that Sony drove a dump truck full of money to, you know, Alamo Drafthouse's house. Because obviously that's the name of the owner, right? First name Alamo, last name Drafthouse. And they just couldn't say no. They couldn't say no to that giant truck filled with money. You think they own Man's Chinese Theater? I don't know. I'd have to look that up. I don't think they do. They may have used them for premieres. A lot of studios do. I thought Man's Chinese Theater was independent. I'll try to, if I can remember, I'll try looking that up later, everybody. Okay, but we're done toying around, and I apologize. There weren't just a lot of amazing toys. Like, at first I was going to be like, I'll have 6 pictures of Wolverine. But I thought that was overkill. So I was like, I'm going to focus on the most detailed and best pictures, so I get as much of that insane-looking figure as I possibly can. Now it is time for us to look at the future of comics. All the way to 1 week from today! Okay. And first up we have... We just had Cobra Commander for toys, because the pre-order's alive. Destro. We have Destro #1. And this is basically the story of Cobra Commander and Destro. And maybe Cobra Commander realizes that Destro may not be a true ally. Maybe Destro has a relationship or meets Baroness. We don't know exactly. But it should be pretty awesome. So this joins the Duke, Scarlet, Cobra Commander comic books. So I believe that's all of them. I believe there's a Baroness book, but I don't think it's out yet. So that's basically how they're introducing the G.I. Joe characters to the Energon universe and Skybound Comics through Image Comics. Basically, miniseries for each character until they have, I guess, like their own Image G.I. Joe book. Not to be confused with the other G.I. Joe book, I believe being done by, I think IDW? By Larry Hama? I think it's Larry Hama. I think it's IDW. Anyway, Destro, #1. DuckTales, woohoo. Before DuckTales, everybody, there was Uncle Scrooge. And Uncle Scrooge was in a series of popular comic books that Disney put out. Okay? This includes like a reprint, it sounds like, of the first story, Scrooge on Bear Mountain, I believe is the title. And a brand new event story by Jason Aaron, one of the best comic book writers, now writing Uncle Scrooge for this event. So that should really raise some eyebrows. This could be a crazy, insane event book. This could be really cool. And it's a one-shot. It's not like a series you're investing in. It's just Uncle Scrooge and the Infinity Dime. So, and I don't think that it has to do with like Infinity Stones or anything like that. I think it's like a unique Jason Aaron story of Uncle Scrooge. So, also, it's a series of artists actually that have worked on the Uncle Scrooge comics like for I guess 20 or 30 years. So that's pretty wild. So Uncle Scrooge and the Infinity Dime, and then all that other stuff too next week. Next up we have, and I think it's our final book this week, Sensational She-Hulk, number 9. Okay, this is one of the best books out there. Rainbow Rowell is doing an excellent job with Jen Walters. And Jack of Hearts, her boyfriend, and the complicated relationship she has with her boss, as well as former supervillains. It's been really good. Well, this is the beginning of a brand new story arc. That's what issue 9 is. So this is a great time to jump on and check out the book without having to go through and do those other 8 issues or the entire She-Hulk series that came out roughly about 2 years ago. So, Sensational She-Hulk number 9. And there's a variant cover, but I thought of the two, this was the best one. So, but yeah, I'm pretty sure, yeah, that is actually the end of our comics for next week. Again, all of them coming out 1 week from today. And 1 week from yesterday if you're looking at DC Comics. Okay, now, finally, we have our comic book review. And this week it is Batman. Okay, this is a mouthful, so I'll let you all know that. Batman Gotham by Gaslight, the Kryptonian Age, number 1. So, many years ago, Mike Mignola did this really beautiful graphic novel. It's like 48 pages. It's not super long. And it was like not in a hardcover either. It was like a soft cover, like a paperback, but tall, but longer, you know, comic book size. Anyway, really great story of Jack the Ripper in Gaslight era London with Bruce Wayne as, you know, Batman. And that was a great book. It's a very quick read. They also did a animated DC film for it. I highly recommend it. They also actually were nice enough to reprint that book, and that was available in comic shops today. So that was cool. This is the sequel, and it's not directly following up things. So we begin with Martha and Jonathan Kent, stagecoach. And they're going in then 1860, I believe it is, or the 1860s. And they're going like through a prairie or whatever, and all of a sudden they see falling stars. And of course, it leads up to a crash landing ship. And here it looks like a pyramid, and it like opens up as they get near it. And then we cut away to Bruce Wayne and other denizens of Gotham, including Selena Kyle and everything. And Selena is basically trying to give women opportunities. So she's trying to get them out of the houses of ill repute. She's trying to get them into like classes or learning. She is doing that. She's funding that through, of course, thievery. And there's this great moment at this like hoity-toity to do where she's basically mocking these people, and then she pretends to like be like faint or like upset because she misses her husband so much. And doing that, she's able to get into the back room and look for this mysterious ring of Young Lee, Jongli, and it's green and glows. And it's weird because it looks a lot like the Green Lantern ring, except like the top of it's more like a Superman symbol. It's got that like angular S thing. And she has to pick this up and bring it to some ne'er-do-wells that were hired by, how it turns out, Batman. So like Batman set all this up basically to bust, I guess, everyone there, is what I took it as. I could be wrong. I apologize. There might be more info. I might have possibly missed something. But from what I took it as, he's the one who set it up secretly. And he did that to bust everybody. So at the same time, he's about to bust everybody and stop Selena Kyle, who is like an 1800s version of Catwoman now in a very cool looking retro outfit. A cool looking retro outfitted League of Shadows shows up. And things get very exciting when Talia has Bruce bleeding and in front of her and says, "Make sure to tell the devil Talia al Ghul sent you." It's very good. I'm just interested to see how everything's going to connect from the crash landing of the ship and, you know, what should be Superman. Also, that ring I mentioned, it turns out that when Talia sees it, she knows it's a fake, but she demands the actual ring. So she wants that ring as well. So that's interesting, and she knew the name of it as well. It turns out it was painted with what was called radium paint, so it would glow. And if that exists, I'm guessing that means it's like radioactive and dangerous, although in the 1800s they probably wouldn't have known that. So that's interesting as well. So it's called the Kryptonian Age, so I'm interested to see how that all pans out, and if that wasn't actually a ring made of kryptonite, it was a false ring. Is there actually a kryptonite ring, and how does the title work? I just have a lot of questions. It's like a 6-issue story arc, and it was very good. Don't get me wrong, I thought it was great. Also very difficult to do a sequel to something like Gotham by Gaslight when it's like 15, 20 years old, you know? But yeah, I thought issue 1 was really good. The art is great. Let's see. The cover, they had like a cool foil cover with like a cowboy in one part and Batman in the other. They're really cool, super detailed, painted cover type thing for Catwoman in like the retro Catwoman outfit. Looked very neat. But yes, everybody, I want to thank you all very much for watching. Thank you. If you enjoy the show, be sure to tell others. If you like the show, feel free to sub. I don't like to harp and preach on that. I do appreciate it, though. Thank you very much. For whatever reason, if you feel you need more of me in your life, and heaven only knows why you would, twitch.tv/Hoarder Gamer. Currently, I am doing a lot of, right now, Diablo 4 and, trying to think, Destiny, actually. Been enjoying the Final Shape quite a bit. Destiny the Final Shape. Tomorrow is Games on a Plane. Just go to gamesonaplane.com. It's me and Xbox Live Mike as we play games on a plane. and also chat. So definitely check that out. And yeah, I hope you all have a fantastic week, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.